The mood on the Today with Jenna and Friends set started off light, festive, and buzzing with a kind of electricity that only live television can carry. Bright lights shimmered across polished studio floors. Camera rigs hummed as they slid across. Tracks and producers gestured to audience coordinators to keep the claps loud and the smiles even louder. Jenna Bush Hager walked out with her usual Southern charm, her bright laugh filling the studio. She carried the same warmth she always did, the kind that made viewers feel like they were chatting with an old friend. Hoda Kotb, seated comfortably, beamed beside her. Hoda had that glow about her, the kind of presence that reassured everyone in the room that whatever happened, she would keep things moving with grace. The crowd's anticipation rose as Jenna and Hoda announced their special guest, Kelly Clarkson. A name that still carried the weight of pop royalty. An icon with a voice that could silence a stadium or fill it with fire. The audience clapped wildly as Kelly entered, her signature smile wide and sparkling. She looked radiant. In a sleek black outfit, hair styled effortlessly, her heels clicking as she walked across the set. She shared a hug with Jenna, then another with Hoda, the kind of quick, warm embraces that conveyed both familiarity and affection. There was history between these women. Kelly had been on the show before, and each time the interviews had been lighthearted, full of laughter, and peppered with stories about music, family, and life. Fans were eager for another warm segment. Social media teasers all week had promised something fun and uplifting. It was supposed to be easy television, and at first, it was. Kelly settled into the couch, her smile natural, her laughter effortless, as Jenna teased about motherhood chaos, and Hoda chimed in with her own anecdotes. They spoke about Kelly's new album, the grueling yet exhilarating process of writing songs, and how her children inspired so much of her music. The audience chuckled when Kelly joked about being both a rock star and a chauffeur, dropping her kids at school before heading to the studio. Everything was smooth. Everything was safe. But then, the air shifted. Jenna leaned forward, her tone still cheerful, but her words carried a sharper edge. She mentioned a recent tabloid story about Kelly's ongoing custody battle. The words seemed innocent enough on the surface, just another question in a long line of questions. But in that moment, the atmosphere of the room altered. Viewers at home later said they could see it instantly. Kelly's smile faltered just slightly, but enough for the audience to catch. A flicker of discomfort flashed in her eyes, like a shadow across an otherwise sunny day. Jenna, perhaps unaware, she had stepped onto dangerous ground, pressed forward. "You've always been so strong for your kids, but do you ever feel like you're doing it all alone?" It hung in the air like a weight. The audience, mid-chuckle, fell silent. Kelly shifted in her seat. Her shoulders tightened. Her hand moved to her lap, fingers fidgeting against the fabric of her dress. She took a breath, but the smile she forced didn't reach her eyes. Silence stretched, long enough that the studio audience began exchanging uneasy glances. Hoda, sensing the tension immediately, leaned in with a soft laugh, trying to redirect. But the moment had already crystallized. Kelly looked directly at Jenna, her voice calm but edged with exhaustion. "Are we here to talk about my music or pick apart my personal life again? Because I'm exhausted." The silence that followed was louder than any applause. The air seemed to thicken, and even the cameras seemed to hesitate, as if unsure where to turn. Behind the scenes, producers waved frantically, motioning to cut to commercial, to steer away, to salvage what they could. But the words had already been spoken, and there was no undoing them. When the show returned from the commercial break, Kelly's demeanor had changed. The warmth was gone. Her body language was closed off, arms drawn in, shoulders stiff. Jenna, visibly unsettled, tried to repair the mood with a gentle smile. "I didn't mean to hit a sore spot. We're all just moms doing our best, right?" But Kelly didn't laugh. Instead, she glanced off stage, her lips moving in a quiet murmur that the microphones didn't fully catch. Then she turned to the audience, her voice steady, deliberate. "I came here thinking this would be a fun interview, but if I wanted therapy, I'd call my counselor." The room froze. Gasps rippled across the crew. Audience members sat wide-eyed, stunned into silence. Hoda, ever the mediator, reached over to gently touch Kelly's arm, leaning close to whisper something meant only for her. The microphones didn't catch it, but Kelly's shake of the head was unmistakable. "I'm done," she said. She reached for the mic clip to her dress, unclipping it with a quick, practiced motion. Stage hands rushed forward, hands outstretched, but she was already standing. Her heels clicked sharply against the polished floor as she stepped around the couch. Jenna's eyes widened, her lips forming the words, "I'm sorry," over and over, but Kelly didn't slow. She walked straight off the set, her back to the stunned hosts and the even more stunned audience. The control room scrambled. Cameras cut awkwardly to a pre-recorded cooking segment. Cheerful music suddenly jarring against the tension that had just unfolded live. But the damage had been done. Within minutes, social media exploded. Kelly Clarkson Walks Off was trending on X, formerly Twitter. Clips of Kelly's sharp words and dramatic exit spread like wildfire. Comment threads filled with heated debates. Some viewers blasted Jenna for crossing a line, accusing her of insensitivity. Others defended her, saying she hadn't meant harm. But no one could deny that something raw and very real had just happened on live television. Backstage, Jenna was shaken. Sources claimed she retreated to her dressing room, locking the door for nearly 20 minutes. Crew members whispered that she had been crying, repeating, "I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it." Eventually, Jenna emerged to issue a shaky on-air statement. Her voice was softer, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. "I never meant to upset Kelly. She's a friend, and I respect her deeply." But by then, Kelly was long gone. Cameras outside the studio caught her stepping briskly into a black SUV, sunglasses shielding her eyes, her jaw clenched. Paparazzi swarmed as the car pulled away, lenses flashing. TMZ was first to post the footage online, and within hours the clip was everywhere. From Entertainment Tonight to gossip blogs and TikTok breakdowns. NBC scrambled. Executives drafted a vague statement saying they valued honest conversations, but declined to comment further. Kelly's camp, however, didn't stay quiet. Her publicist released a pointed statement. Kelly walked away from a conversation that crossed personal boundaries. She remains committed to speaking openly on her own terms. Those final words, "on her own terms," struck a chord. Fans rallied instantly. Hashtags like Tasha Team Kelly and Tasha Respect Boundaries trended across platforms. Memes circulated, showing Kelly walking away with captions like, "When you know your worth." Meanwhile, Jenna found herself caught in a storm she hadn't anticipated. Online, sympathy mixed with outrage. Some argued she was simply doing her job, asking tough questions. Others said she should have known better, especially given Kelly's very public divorce and custody struggles. The next morning, Kelly posted an Instagram reel. Just her in a studio, guitar in hand, singing an acoustic version of an unreleased song. The lyrics were sharp, unmistakable. "You pushed it too far, now I'm walking away. You don't get to ask and still call it grace." The internet erupted. Fans were convinced she had written it in real time, a direct response to the interview. Her album streams surged overnight, shooting her to the top of Spotify's trending charts. NBC, embarrassed, quietly removed the interview from their official YouTube channel, citing technical issues. But the internet is forever. Copies of the walk-off, shaky phone recordings from audience members, and screen-recorded clips circulated endlessly. Millions watched, rewatched, and dissected every detail. In the days that followed, the fallout only grew. Other networks smelled opportunity. Producers from rival shows reached out to Kelly, eager to secure her first sit-down interview after the incident. Rumors swirled that ABC was courting her for a primetime special with Robin Roberts, offering full editorial control, a rare and tempting offer. Jenna, meanwhile, stayed silent. She canceled several planned media appearances and was conspicuously absent from Today for 2 days. Hoda addressed it only briefly, telling viewers, "Sometimes conversations take unexpected turns. We all have to learn from them." Fans read between the lines, sensing the rift wasn't healing overnight. When Jenna finally returned, her face was drawn, but determined. Looking directly into the camera, she spoke from the heart. "I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I never meant to make Kelly uncomfortable. She's someone I've looked up to. I crossed the line, and I'm learning from it." Her voice cracked slightly, but she didn't cry. The sincerity was evident, but reactions remained split. Some applauded her humility. Others dismissed it as too little, too late. Social media comment sections lit up, "She's doing damage control." Another countered, "She's human. She owned it. Let's move on." But Kelly wasn't ready to move on, at least not silently. That very afternoon, she posted a black screen on Instagram stories with white text, "When people show you who they are, believe them." The message spread like wildfire. On TikTok, users stitched the post with clips of her walking off set. On X, the quote trended within an hour. Everyone knew exactly who she was talking about, even though no names were mentioned. Celebrities began to weigh in. On The View, Whoopi Goldberg, discussing the media's treatment of women, said, "Sometimes celebs go on these shows and expect kindness, and what they get is an ambush. That ain't right." The audience applauded loudly. Joy Behar raised an eyebrow but said nothing. The clip hit YouTube within minutes and went viral. Suddenly, this wasn't just about Kelly and Jenna. It was a broader conversation about media ethics, about how women, especially those going through personal struggles, are treated when they step into the spotlight. But just as the story began to cool, a new spark reignited it. Access Hollywood released a leaked audio clip from the Today set, recorded moments after Kelly walked off. In it, a voice alleged to be Jenna's could be heard saying, "I didn't mean to push her that hard. I just thought it would make good TV." The quote set social media ablaze. Fans accused Jenna of exploiting Kelly's pain for ratings. NBC refused to confirm the tape's authenticity, but the damage was done. By Monday, Kelly returned to her own talk show, her energy calm but resolute. She dedicated an episode to discussing emotional boundaries and self-respect, never naming names but leaving no doubt about what inspired her words. "When you go through something hard, people think they're entitled to your pain. But you get to decide what's sacred." The studio audience erupted in applause. Clips from the show went viral, shared by mental health advocates and celebrities alike. Selena Gomez reposted it on Instagram with the caption, "Yes, protect your peace." Demi Lovato added, "This is why I love Kelly." The narrative had shifted. Kelly wasn't just a pop star anymore. She was a symbol of resilience, of boundaries, of refusing to let fame strip away her humanity. For Jenna, the road back would be longer. NBC executives stood by her publicly, calling her a valued member of the Today family. But behind the scenes, sources whispered about tense meetings, damage control strategies, and fears about audience trust. For Kelly, the walk-off became more than a viral moment. It was a statement, a declaration that even in the glare of live TV, she could stand up, draw a line, and walk away when the line was crossed. And for everyone watching, it was a reminder. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do isn't to stay and smile through the pain. It's to stand, uncle clip the mic, and leave.